Erev Tov B'Tay. We were talking about a couple of weeks ago, if you remember, about the issue of Yain Nesech, the wine which is made by the Goyim that is forbidden. So we were supposed to continue. I remember I told you we're going to continue about this. So I wanted to continue now, tell you a little bit more about this, because actually it's a very important halakha. It's a little bit tricky also, to understand all the details here, but let's try if we can understand. So, as we said, right, just to review the whole basic idea. The basic idea is like this. If the wine is made by the Goy, the rabbi said, don't use this wine. Don't drink it. And also, not only you cannot drink it, but you're not supposed to get also hana from it. You're not allowed to sell it either. The wine of the Goyim. You're not allowed to sell it. So, question is, right, how does that work? Number one is that, and what's the reason for it also, right? We have to understand. The reason is because we're afraid that the Goy, who makes the wine, is going to be meshachshech, the wine for Avodah Zarah. Because they're thinking about Avodah Zarah, these Goyim, right? They have the Avodah Zarah on their mind. So the problem is, that they used to do in the old days like this. Also they do it today, I think also, in the church. They do this, that they pour out the wine, right? They have some kind of a mizbeach, there, whatever, right? They have deal. They pour out the wine and they do it for Avodah Zarah. So they're meshachshech, this is the custom, with the hand like this, whatever. So this is the way it's done. So we're afraid, that if the Goy touches the wine, he has kavanah for Avodah Zarah and he's going to be meshachshech, paddle it around a little bit, the wine. So because of that, he's going to make it into Avodah Zarah. So therefore the rabbi said, don't use this wine, of the Goy, because of Avodah Zarah. As we said, right, also there's another thing, which they say, the Chazal, that this isur, this prohibition of wine, right, yain nesech, stam yanam, of the Goyim, it's not only just a prohibition. They say that, if a person who drinks this wine, he gets a big tumah, in his neshama from here, and he can do a lot of sins because of this. Come to a lot of sins, That's why people you see it, right, who are not makpid, they're not medakdek, they drink a goyish wine. They go to the store, liquor store, they buy goyish wine. These people are getting very damaged by this, very, very, they're coming to defile their souls because of the yain nesech, stam yanam. So you have to be very careful. As we said, right, also, that brandy cognac, right, is made from wine, So because of that, it's the same thing, Just like you're not allowed to have the wine of the Goyim, also brandy cognac of the Goyim, also not allowed, because it's the same thing, it comes from wine, So therefore, if you want to buy brandy cognac, you have to buy with hechsher, or you, right, whatever, something like that, right, something, kashrut, has to have kashrut, otherwise you cannot buy. Same thing as the wine. Okay, great. So let's go a little step by step, right? As we said. So now the thing is like this. The problem is, okay, we're religious people. We're not going to go to the store, and buy goyish wine. We don't do that, right? Hopefully, I hope we don't do it, right? We're not going to do that. But there are also other things involved, right? Which is that what? Sometimes, it could be your wine, but the goy touched it, whatever, he picked it up, whatever, something like that. And it could be that makes it asur. So you have to be careful when you have wine, if you have a goy in the house, some kind of a, right, this servant, whatever, butler, whatever it is, right, you got there, you have to be careful, they shouldn't play around with the wine. Also, another thing happens, by the way, sometimes you go on the plane, right, to Israel, whatever, and you get a kosher meal. They have kosher meals, right? So sometimes you can also buy some wine. So what's going to be is, right, the goy will ask you, the flight attendant is going to ask you, you want some wine, sir? Yeah, okay, I'll take. So they're going to give you kosher wine, right? They're going to know you're Jewish, right? You're a kosher guy. They're going to give you, but the problem is, if he opens the wine, right, the goy, right, the goya, and pours it for you, right, even though it's kosher wine, it's going to be asur. That's the problem. So you got to be careful. You got to tell the goy, listen, just leave the bottle here. I'll do it. I'll pour the wine. Don't pour it for me. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless you. Right? That's good. Huh? I hope they know, right? Sometimes they don't know, not everybody knows about these things. This is very, even some Jews don't know about these things. You know what I mean? All the more so the Goyim, they don't know. But whatever, anyway, if they know, they know. If they don't know, they don't know. But the point is, right? So how do you get out of this problem, right? The best way to get out of this problem is use wine which is pasteurized. What is pasteurized? That means they boil it, for a little while. Until it comes to a boil. Or a little bit less than that, they heat it up. So once they do that, even if the goy touches it, no problem. It's pasteurized. Why is that? What's the reason why? Because they don't do libation, with pasteurized wine. You know why? Because pasteurized wine is not so high quality anymore. The quality goes down a little bit, So they don't bring on the mizbeach pasteurized wine. So therefore, once it's pasteurized, good, kosher, right? Even if he touches it, even if he, whatever he does, pours it out, or whatever he does. He took one cup also for himself. Doesn't matter. It's okay, no problem. It's pasteurized.
So if it says OUP,
yeah.
Passover or pasteurized?
Right. So P is Passover, right? But in the bottle, it says pasteurized. Not the OUP. On the bottle it says, pasteurized wine. There are most wines today. Most kosher wines are pasteurized. Baruch Hashem, So usually it's all right. But the thing is, that there is one big company who makes wine in Israel. You know which one I'm talking about? There's many companies over there. But one is called Ramat Golan. They make it on the Golan Heights. The winery over there. It's a big winery there. They make a lot of wine there. It goes all over the world. And they make good quality, good wine. High quality stuff, So that wine, they don't pasteurize it. It's kosher, but not pasteurized. So if you get this wine, right, it has many different names, by the way, from this company. Sometimes it's called Golan, sometimes it's called Gamla, sometimes it's called Yarden. Right? All these wines are from the same company, Ramat Golan, over there, So if you're using these, it says in the bottle that it's not pasteurized, because they don't pasteurize it. Why don't they pasteurize it? Why not? Because the quality goes down. They want to have a better taste, Professional taste,
I heard Kedem wine is not kosher.
Huh?
I heard Kedem wine is not kosher.
Kedem?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
That's what I heard.
No, I don't think so. That sounds a little bit too far-fetched there. So, Kedem is very good. Baruch Hashem, Ishtabach Shema. There's no problem with Kedem. Yeah. It's also pasteurized. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Rabbi, somebody is not from the Shabbat.
Yeah.
And he said the table with the 10 people.
Right.
He said Kiddush.
Yeah.
Could everybody drink it?
So you see, he's talking about the Jew who's not religious, right?
Yeah.
Talking about this, right?
The
So the truth is,
the guy smoking outside can say Kiddush of
yeah.
Shabbat.
So when it comes to this mitzvah, of Yain Nesech Tam Yanam, they say, many of the poskim, that if the Jew is not religious, it's like a goy, same thing. So if he touches the wine, it's like a goy touches the wine. Same thing.
He's still a Jew.
You understand? Right, but you know what they say, right? In the Shulchan Aruch it says, a Jew who doesn't keep Shabbat, he's like a goy. He's like a goy, not much. So the same thing over here. You understand? So this is the reason why, there's going to be a problem, right? For this kind of thing. But as we said, right, if it's pasteurized, no problem, right?
How do you get the avoid of that? Rabbi, let's say
Most wines are pasteurized today, As I said, right, there are a few that are not. But,
if the wine is pasteurized, he says Kiddush, is it okay?
now you're talking about something else. You're talking about Kiddush. I'm talking about the wine itself, right? The kashrut of the wine. You're talking about Kiddush. That's a different discussion. You know what I mean? The truth is, that if somebody's not Shomer Shabbat, you shouldn't hear his Kiddush be Yotzeh from him. You should do it yourself. Do it yourself, As they say the Americans, if you want something done right, do it yourself. Don't rely on other people, So if you go as a guest, to somebody, right? And the guy who's making Kiddush is Mechalel Shabbat. Don't do it yourself, Tell him, give me a cup, I'll do it. That's what you gotta do, Okay, right? But what are we talking about? We're talking about somebody who's Mechalel Shabbat Befarhesia. You know what this means? He goes out in the street and Mechalel Shabbat. In front of everybody. No shame. We're not talking about he does it at home, secret, nobody. No. We're talking about he comes out in the street, he drives his car. Oh, What you got, a BMW there? Oh, nice, huh? Shabbat, huh? Oh, this is Mechalel Shabbat Pefanesia. Also comes out, in the street, right? Smoke cigarette in the street. It's Mechalel Shabbat. Yeah, somebody like this, like a goy, we treat him. You know what I mean? That's the answer to your question. Okay, fine. Let's move on, right? So I want to tell you a couple more things. So now, right, the question is like this. If the goy, right, let's say, as we said, right, or a Jew who's not religious, you go to El Al, over there, most of the right attendants over there, flight attendants are not religious. They're usually Chiloni, they're secular people. Like Israeli, Stam Israeli, they're not religious people. So those people also, you should tell them not to open the bottle for you. Do it yourself, if it's not pasteurized. Tell them, I'll do it. It's okay. I'll do it. So that's the way it works, So now the thing is like this, right? Okay, fine. So what about if really Bemet, the goy, right, picked up the bottle, Is that asur now to eat this, to drink this wine, or the secular Jew? So the answer is no. Just because he picked up the bottle doesn't make it asur. So how does it become asur? If he pours it, into the cup, then it's already asur. Why? Because this is like shikshuch. He's pouring it out. It's like libation, right? So nisuch. So if he pours it out, the wine in the glass is asur. You're not allowed to drink that. What about the wine in the bottle? That's also asur. You know why? Because it was connected with the tzinok, right? So that's also asur.
Asur to say kiddush or asur to drink?
Asur to drink it, right? All the more so you cannot make kiddush, right? All the more so. So that's doing a mitzvah. So yeah.
Because in a lot of problems, you're overthinking this stuff. Look, a lot of people who serve in a restaurant, usually not Jews, they are goyims.
Oh, yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, you got a problem there.
Right. Now,
but as I said, most of the wines are pasteurized, so usually it's not a problem.
Even deliveries from the factories to the restaurants, it's all handled by goyims.
Yeah, no problem, because he didn't pour it out into the cup, right? And it's also closed, so it's not, there's no problem with that. There's no problem. If the wine is closed, also he didn't pour it out, even if he picked it up, like this, he moved it around a little bit, that's not a problem. Until he pours it out, not a problem. Or he touches it with his hands, inside, does something like this, right? Agitates it. So this is the way it works, with yain nesech. So as we said, right, usually it's not a problem, but if you're drinking one of those wines, which are not pasteurized, most of them are, right? All the basic ones over here in America, they're all pasteurized, right? Kedem, Manashevitz, they're all pasteurized. One more thing I'll tell you, right? We've got to do our vid. I don't want to keep you too long. As we said right before, there's also, a person just texted me the other day. Somebody from Main Street. Nice guy. So he went to Florida, and so he doesn't have over there where he was, there are many places in Florida where there's nothing, nothing Jewish there, There are places where there's a lot of Jewish. There are places nothing Jewish. Right? Whatever. So he went to a place, I guess, there's no Jewish store over there, there's no nothing. So what did he do, right? He bought some grape juice of the goyim, and he texted me, am I allowed to make kiddush with this grape juice of the goyim? Well, you know which one is, right? Welch's, right? Welch's is like the big company over here in America. I mean, whatever. So the truth is, I told him, I thought about it for a second. So what I remembered? One time, several years ago, I called Welch's, and I spoke to somebody, representative over there. So I asked him, I said, tell me, the way you make the grape juice over there, does anybody touch the wine, or anything like that, right? Hand by hand? He said, no. It's all automated, everything is automated. So what does that mean? Once they, put the grapes right into the tub, everything is handled by automation, by machines. So nobody touches it, he said. So because of that, the truth is, you can also go there and see, yourself. You can go inside the factory. And also they have videos, how they make it, everything. Everything is known, So therefore, the truth is, in a case where there's nothing else to make kiddush, Welch's would be okay. because nobody touches it over there. Everything's automated. It's a big company, $1 million company. Multi, probably $1 billion company, right? Welch's. They sell all over the country, and all over the world probably also. So this company is huge, and they don't want to, have a bad reputation. So they're not going to lie to you. You know what I mean? They're afraid to lie. They have a name. They want to keep the respect of the company. So they're not going to lie to you. So if they tell you nobody's touching, it's true. So therefore, if you have no other way to make Kiddush except to use Welch's, you can use it. But here's the thing, there's also another way to do it, right? Which is, the Gemara says, if you don't have wine, right, to make Kiddush on Shabbat, what do? Squeeze some grapes, and make some juice yourself, right, in the house. It's the best thing you can do, That's it.
You can say on a beer.
Right, but beer is not so good, like wine, it's second class, suk bet, it's not good. Yeah. Beer is not good to make Kiddush. So therefore, right, if a person doesn't have wine, what do? Go to the supermarket, buy some grapes, squeeze it out, then you got your wine. But you have to do it before Shabbat, of course, so you cannot squeeze it on Shabbat. So, Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen, Amen. Rabbi Chanan, שאומר, הקדוש ברוך הוא לעזרת ישראל, לפיכך חיבר להם תורה בסוף של אדוני חפץ, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר.